What's going on, everybody? Good late morning. Hope you guys are having a good Victory Monday. It is indeed the first Victory Monday of the season, and we've got some stuff to be doing today. Stuff that we would be doing even if it wasn't a Victory Monday, even if it was a Hangover Monday, we'd be talking about the same stuff. But it's certainly better to be able to talk about stuff like this after a win. So, we're going to start things off here with Snap Count Monday on the offense. You guys know the drill. We take a look at the data. How much did various players play in that game yesterday? And what can we learn, if anything, from the way in which snaps were divvied out? Please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. Please check out my most recent video on Bleacher Report. It's been up for a few hours now. It's just a quick little post-game video for the game yesterday. Let's go ahead and dive in, starting with the snap counts on the offense. And the first thing that jumps out, massive improvement here for the offense, 65 snaps. A week after they had a game where they had a pretty pathetic 52 snaps, 65 snaps is a big improvement and an indication that things are going in the right direction. Obviously, they have to sustain it, but 65 offensive snaps is going to get a lot of positive things done. It's not a huge number, but it's a very workable number. All right, how they divvied things up. Running backs, we had Zach Charbonnet leading the way again with 36 snaps. He was completely ineffective for his part. Again, I think he's getting the wrong kind of carries. I don't really know why Kubiak's giving him the outside zone runs when he's not fast enough for that, but he did lead the way in snaps, and we actually had Robbie Oots in second place with 27 snaps. Now, obviously, he's a fullback, so it's a little bit of a different thing. But it's very interesting to see Robbie Oots outsnap K9 over the first two games of the season. Maybe it's not that surprising, but it does kind of surprise me. 27 snaps out of 65, so not quite half the game, but close. And you can see he's a big part of what we're going to do. And I can understand that. I don't have an issue with it. It does surprise me a little bit. You can see that we're also using him in ways that aren't just pure fullback. And then you have K9. K9 with 23 snaps. Looks like we're pacing him this year. Over the first two games, not even 38% usage here. So I guess we're just going to be taking it easy with him, which also makes some sense. Certainly can't argue with something like that when we're talking about a player that has been injured as much as Walker has been in his career. Okay, wide receiver. More interesting stuff here. For the second game in a row, Cooper Kupp leads the receivers in snaps with 45. Only a few more than JSN's 42. It's not a big deal, but also notice how no one receiver monopolizes the snap opportunities. 45 out of 65, that's still leaving quite a bit. So it's kind of the offense that we were advertised, where there wouldn't be heavy emphasis on receivers. And you can see how things got split up. It's not like anybody behind these guys played a huge portion of the game. Torrey Horton was third place, but he only played 26 snaps, not even half. And then Jake Bobo with 10 and Derek Young with 8. So that's the offense we were told about in the offseason. Let me tell you about something that I've been telling you about the last few weeks. Before I go any further into this, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the Sleeper app? It is the best way to experience and connect over sports together with other users. It's a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Go download the app now. You can celebrate and chat on games in real time with others. You can get the fastest scores, news, and alerts, all that right at your fingertips. And of course, you can play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So you can enjoy sports the way they were meant to be, together. Download the #1 sports app today. And when you go, use promo code SBN, that is SBN, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today. Don't forget promo code SBN. All right, welcome back. And then we have the tight end usage, which is pretty high. AJ Barner almost played the whole game, 58 snaps out of 65. So basically every snap. You can see the emphasis on getting two tight ends out there at almost all times, because Elijah Arroyo with 26, little less than half, but you also had Saubert play 24 snaps. So we're talking about a majority snaps in this game with multiple tight ends on the field. Now, there's also some snaps where you have all three on the field, but there is a clear emphasis on getting these guys on the field rather than getting a lot of receivers on the field. You can see that 45 to Cup versus 65 total. And then JSN, as good a game as these two guys had, only 42 of 65 snaps, about a 2/3 of the game. So this is the formula we were told about. And offensively, on the offensive line, to wrap things up, everybody played every snap on the starting unit except for Sundell, who obviously got hurt. Apparently, it's just cramps, by the way, not a big deal. So 56 snaps for him, and then Oluwatimi played the final 9 snaps of the game. So pretty standard stuff here. Again, there's no rotation up front. There's just everybody plays until they can't play. All right, so that's it for the offense. Pretty informative, pretty educational, and pretty much in line with what we thought we were going to have this season, I think. Let's jump over to the defense now. Let's talk about these defensive numbers. 62 snaps. So we actually had more snaps offensively than defensively. Pretty big. It's not by a huge amount or anything. We're talking about 3 snaps, but that's going to add up over the course of the year. And the deficit is now 117 to 138. That's 21 snaps. So we're going to have to do some work to make up for that, but it is doable. So with only 62 snaps played, you can see how everything just naturally makes more sense. Leonard Williams plays less than 50 snaps. He plays 48 in this game. Still plays a high percentage, but you can see how big the difference is. Byron Murphy, 39 snaps, and look at how effective he got to be, not even having to get to 40 snaps in this game. Very, very important that he gets to rotate in and out at a normal rate. Jaron Reed, the old man, you don't want him playing massive snaps, 33. That is something that is probably putting him right about on pace to be the player we want him to be. So we're talking about 51.5% of the snaps so far for Reed. That's probably where he needs to be. That's probably about where he needs to live. Brandon Peely had 8 snaps. Mike Morris had 6 snaps. Little tiny contributions that are going to help as the season wears on. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but over the course of a 17-game season, those things will matter. All right, so that's the defensive line, much better. Linebacker, kind of similar to last week. Ernest Jones plays the whole game. Tyrese Knight plays most of the game, 43 out of 62 snaps. And Drake Thomas plays a little bit as well. Most of Drake Thomas's snaps came after Knight missed the tackle on the 65-yard play, and it seemed like he got pulled out for, I don't want to say punishment purposes, but there seemed to be a correlation between the one really bad play that Knight had in this game and him getting pulled out. Now you can see the numbers still don't add up to 62, so there are some plays where we just don't have that second linebacker out there. But I imagine that as Knight's play improves as the season goes on, which I think that it will, Drake Thomas's snaps are going to drop to basically nothing. Okay, edge rusher. You can see Nwosu slowly getting worked in. He got 16 snaps. Very, very few snaps in this game. 16. So if you're wondering why you didn't see him make a big impact on Sunday, that's probably why. He was out there even less than I thought that he was. And we got to give him a couple weeks to really get back into the swing of things. Not even, well, just barely over, rather, a quarter of the game. So we're working him back in the right way. But you can see that that already has had an impact on the other guys. Nobody else went over 42 snaps. Mafe played 42 snaps. Derek Hall played 33. DeMarcus Lawrence played 34. So Hall and Lawrence are playing about half the game, which makes sense because they're both somewhat one-dimensional players at this point in their career. Hall's able to rush the passer at a high level. Lawrence is a high-level run defender, and neither guy is great in the opposite category. So it makes sense they would each play about half the game. And then Mafe is the guy who is poised for a breakout season. He's currently sitting at a little bit more than half the game. So this is a pretty good setup for the Seahawks to have success. Remember, Nwosu is going to play more as the season goes on. So you might see a scenario where all four of these guys are playing pretty close to half the game. And I think that would be really, really healthy. Okay, cornerback. Cornerback's a little bit of a mess this week because of the injury to Witherspoon. We've got no snaps for him, of course, because he didn't play, but Reek Woolen played all the snaps except for 3, and the 3 that he missed were because a contact fell out of his eye, so there was no benching or anything like that. And by the way, one thing I want to say real quick, kind of off topic, but Mike McDonald did specifically single out Woolen post-game as someone who he thought was really good on Sunday. So there were some people who are anticipating Woolen maybe getting benched and Job maybe taking his job going forward. I'm not getting that sense. I'm not. Not to say that Job didn't play great yesterday. He was one of our better players, I think, but don't anticipate that to be happening quite yet. Job played 60 snaps, so basically the whole game. Darion Kendrick played about 2/3 of the game, 42, so that's nickel corner stuff. And then Shaq and Pritchett kind of fill in the gaps with Woolen and Job, right? Shaq Griffin played 3 snaps to replace Woolen for 3 snaps, and Pritchett played 2 snaps to take the 2 snaps that Job didn't play. All right, so that is going to be a setup that we hopefully won't see again because Witherspoon will be back soon. And I know Kendrick played well in that game too, but I'm still not looking to play him the whole rest of the season. All right, safety. Wrap things up with safety. And actually, let me expand out these columns a little bit because I forgot. There we go. Julian Love and Kobe Bryant play the whole game, as you would expect, 62-62. And then DeAnthony Bell actually got a decent amount of burn in this one, 12 snaps. Okada played 9. So no big issues there, which was nice because Okada's game was ugly last week against the 49ers. And that is your snap count Monday in its totality. So sensible, reasonable, not much to say in terms of anything particularly crazy or exotic on this side of the ball. You can see the things that we need start to get implemented. But I think the thing that really stands out here is how are we going to handle this edge rotation when Nwosu's up to full speed? Is it going to be half and half and half and half for everybody? Because there are only 2 holes to take from, theoretically. All right. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll see you guys soon. More videos coming. Got plenty of stuff still going. And everybody have a great rest of your day. Victory Monday feels good. I'll be streaming tomorrow, probably in the evening again, to talk a little bit more about this W. But enjoy it. We're only going to get so many this year. Hard to know how many we're going to get, but when they come, definitely appreciate them. All right, go Hawks.